The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're dancing on the good foot right here on The Local Show.
Dancing on the good foot. I do have a good foot. Do you have like one that you favor, Tom?
I do. Well, both of my feet hurt sometimes after a big day at the gym. So, I'm always trying to better myself. And in trying to better myself, sometimes I feel worse.
What about when
I don't know why.
What about when you do a big party or a wedding reception?
Oh, God, my feet still kill
at the end
me.
of the day.
And I'm wearing the sneakers. I wear the black Skechers type, sneakers.
Yeah, like the ones I have. That's kind of what I'm wearing now, right?
Those are more like what Frankenstein would have worn. But,
maybe a little smaller.
Yes, but yeah, sort of like that. And it does make me feel better in the short haul. But still, after being on my feet all night, it's really crazy how the feet act up. So when I'm doing like calf raises or even stretching my feet, they hurt the next day after stretching them. Come on.
Dr. Joe Nas, my buddy, the podiatrist, he's a golf buddy, but he helps. Right. Because it really does matter. It does. It really does matter.
I never would understand. And I had a couple of friends who played semi-pro football and a couple who played pro. And they would tell me that, like when we were in our 30s and 40s, that their feet would kill them, and after they would retire out and everything. And I never understood that. I was like, how can your feet hurt? But now it does.
You know what? But if you were a plumber, you'd have it made. You wouldn't have these problems.
No, because they're on their knees more. They are.
They are.
Stephen Landers is with us right now. He's the owner of CNY Plumbing Solutions. How are you, Stephen?
I'm great, thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you. So I did a commercial one time long ago for a company in the Southern Tier, and I played the part of a toilet. And I remember talking and saying, hey, because I'm a toilet, do you think I'm a dirty guy? That type of thing.
You did that pretty well.
Thanks. Anyway.
What did the costume look like?
Yeah, right. If I did that. Actually, I had a friend who wore a costume.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
was a toilet and his head popped out through the toilet.
Of course.
And you know him.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll get off the air.
Yes. Anyway, so Stephen, how long have you been in the plumbing business?
Pretty much my whole life. 20 years now. It's a family business and fourth generation. So,
golly, 20 years. Are you a master? What they call a master plumber?
I am. I got my master's plumbing license a couple years ago now. And
what's the difference between that and just being a regular average plumber?
So it varies state to state and town to town and stuff. Around here, it's just the county, and there's a test for a journeyman after 5 years. There's a test to become a master after 5 years, and it's increasingly harder to be a master than the journeyman test.
And does that allow you to diagnose and come up with the better solutions for people? And
yeah, a lot of it's experience based. The more experience you get out of a plumber, the more things you've seen. Especially around here, the houses are very different. In the neighborhood. Built 200 years ago, built 100 years ago, built last week. So all different problems.
So when people call CNY Plumbing, have they planned to call, or is it because something is leaking or broken? I mean, do they I've been planning to call the plumber, or is it a lot of emergency stuff?
It's probably close to half and half. Because there's some stuff you can plan, but then there's always the things you can't. And we're available to take care of either one. So nothing really surprises us anymore.
So in your opinion, going from copper and cast iron and copper than PVC, is PVC just as good as copper?
There's still instances we use copper. There's still instances we use cast iron. The lighter weight materials, the plastic, are easier on the body and the feet and the knees and stuff. So it's nice to use the lightweight materials for sure. But they all have their place.
What about longevity and safety in a residence? What's better?
The jury's out on that one probably. Everybody's health conscious with plastics.
Yeah.
And the copper is antibacterial and stuff, so it's nice to see copper, and it is a lot better looking product. But it's
So what's the deal with the toilet that uses 2 ounces of water to flush? I mean, things have changed, right?
yeah. So everybody wants to save water. Where it's not so much a problem here in New York as it is other places, but it's always good to save it. And the technology's come a long way, and there's a lot of technology in plumbing that people don't see, and the toilets is one of them, where it took a while for them to catch up on the manufacturing side to make a toilet that flushed well with a lot less water, but they're there and they work well.
In this time of year, and it never fails, that all of a sudden I start getting slow drains. Why in the winter?
In the house or used personally?
Yeah, no. In the house,
okay.
of course. Yeah, so you get a slow drain, and I've heard various things like, you should run your hot water every once in a while through all your pipes and let it run for 10 minutes. Then I've heard like fill a bathtub up with
So are you thinking it's partially
water.
freezing? Is that what you're thinking?
I don't know. I don't know that it's frozen. I just think that things get clogged.
So in older houses, the vent pipes were much smaller than the ones we put in now.
I see.
So where the vent goes through the roof, you meet the cold air, you can actually freeze those vents shut.
Oh, okay.
So if you do have, it's below freezing outside and all of a sudden your sink starts gurgling and stuff like that, it's probably the vent termination is freezing on the roof.
Gotcha.
So,
but in general, say it was a house built in the 2000s, early 2000s, should you fill a bathtub with water and let it run through every once in a while? Is that a thing?
He's making his. I think that's goofy face.
Well, that's fine.
So YouTube listeners would see he was making the. I think that's goofy face. Go ahead, prove me wrong.
So running more water is not going to hurt.
Yeah.
Depends what it is. It might not help though.
Right. And now, over at the big box stores, I notice a lot of stuff that they say use this in the drain regularly, and it's not like hydrochloric acid or anything, but it's some sort of an acidy type thing that you put in your kitchen sink every now and again. Is that bad for the pipes? Good for the pipes? Or
it depends on the pipes.
necessary?
We have back to the houses being all different ages. You could have a house that's 200 years old, and it could be bad for the steel pipes, the cast iron pipes. A new house, the plastic's pretty inert. It's not going to be a problem. Nothing's going to replace mechanical drain cleaning. If you have a stoppage in there, that's something that's set up in there.
Right.
A chemical's not going to affect it. It needs to be cleaned out with a rotor or a machine or
a tool.
Yeah.
What are the most common fixes that you do for people?
Drain cleaning is very common. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Leaks, we got a lot of stuff that's wearing out. Water pipes are wearing out and getting leaks. We got drain pipes that are wearing out and getting leaks. Replacing fixtures, shower valves, faucets, toilets, all that kind of stuff are very common. And
do you have like special pricing for doing like just a drain clean out or something like that?
Yeah, so most of our pricing is up front. We can tell you right then and there, it's this much to do this much to do that. There is some bigger projects we do. We're doing remodelings and new houses and stuff like that where we take a look at them and give you a price based on your blueprints or whatever you're looking to do.
Right. We had a backup in the utility tub down in the basement. Midsummer, this was, and all of a sudden, like sewage.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm like, what is going on?
Was that from the?
It was from outside.
Yep.
Now, how does that happen?
So that's just the lowest point. So the water is going to find the lowest point. So if it's clogged outside, it's coming out in the house wherever it can. So
I don't know how it got clogged outside, but the town came.
Yep.
So I didn't have to get a plumber.
But they kind of caused it too, didn't they? I mean,
they caused it because and then it smelled and oy vey.
Yeah, if you're in an old neighborhood, that's a common. The infrastructure is not great in Syracuse. I think we all know that. So
yeah. No way to mitigate that or make it less.
We have check valves we can put in to keep back up from coming into the basement. We put pumps in to pump your sewage, under force into the mains if you're in a really bad neighborhood. So
check valves, I like that.
Yeah, the check valves are easy and quick and cheap. So
you own CNY Plumbing Services. Last big question is what actually causes plumber's crack? Can you explain that to me?
I think it's the bad knees, the old age, and gravity.
Too many carbs.
All right.
Too many carbs.
753-1104. Maybe you have some plumbing questions. 753-1104. CNY Plumbing. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.